What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another matchup from the Defense 3, brought to you by yours truly, B-Ball, and holy crap, there are a bunch of casters. And of course, if you want to watch the VOD and break my heart on another channel, then you can go to youtube.com/joindota or joindota.com to check out Toby's VOD. But if you want to keep my heart intact, you can stay with me, stay a while, sit down, roll up your socks, put your feet up on a chair, lay a nice toasty fire, because goddamn, it's cold up here in the Northeast. And just stay a while and listen, Deckard Cain style, as I'm going to bring you a match between EG and No Tidehunter, the top two people right now in Group B, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's Group A. Actually, I think it is Group A, because I was just commenting in a previous commentary that Group A is all messed up, and this is one of the matchups that could potentially mess it up even further. So NTH, they're guaranteed winners bracket no matter what. EG, they're not even guaranteed to be in the playoffs just yet. If they lose this matchup, they will have to go into a giant cluster gang thing of tiebreakers between them and a bunch of other teams. Like, I don't even want to name them all because there's just so many teams. Turtle Masters, Gamer University Peru, and there's like one more team that I honestly can't remember for the life of me. And if EG win this, then they get to play in another tiebreaker versus No Tidehunter, I think, or they get the first seed. I'm not too sure. The defense rules are a little bit unclear at the moment, but if they do win this, then they should have the head-to-head versus No Tidehunter, so I imagine they get the first seed, but they might have to play in another tiebreaker again. As I almost said, Tidebringer, and that would, I imagine, not be a very fun game to play, Tidebringer versus Tidebringer, because, yeah, who wants to get splashed? Especially in this weather, where it's goddamn freezing. But yeah, No Tidehunter, EG, been a little bit inconsistent as of late, but still a very talented team. Hopefully they can sort of turn around their inconsistency and get back to the level that we all know are very capable. Meanwhile, No Tidehunter looking quite sharp recently. Of course, you've been following No Tidehunter pretty closely on my channel. They've been playing a lot of games recently, and a lot of good games recently, and we all know Envy likes picking every hero that could not possibly be a support. As support, all I'm waiting for now is a support Ursa, and my life will be complete. Or support Spirit Breaker. But EG gonna have the Keeper of the Light and the Bat Rider. Melk said in a tweet like a week and a half ago saying that he hates Phantom Lancer Keeper of the Light, so they're just gonna ban out Keeper of the Light from now on. But now that the Coiling Blade Phantom Lancer bug has been fixed, I don't imagine we're gonna see Phantom Lancer as such a high priority ban anymore from EG, and that's why it's not banned at all. So if we just look at the things, Undying, Darkseer still left in the pool, and I think Undying probably be gonna the choice for No Tidehunter. They do love running that Undying, but I think Darkseer is overall just a better hero, because Undying really just fades off the map in the mid to late stages of the game, and against a team like EG, you can't really gimmick them with really early game strategies, because they're pretty solid. And of course, you might just have to wait for an opportunity where EG can do their infamous EG throws, and let your team have the victory. But No Tidehunter gonna take a while. So if I were them, I'd pick up the Darkseer, let EG say, alright, go on, take Undying, we don't need it anyway. Just so they'd have a little bit more mid-game advantage, but they're going to pick up the Lone Druid for Admiral Bulldog once again. And I feel like this might be a little bit of a trap. Admiral Bulldog, of course, one of the best Lone Druids in all of the Western Hemisphere. But picking him as a first pick is a little bit of a gamble, but it does sort of give EG a bit of a conundrum. Do they want to pick up both Darkseer and Undying, and then leave themselves open to getting a lot of long lane heroes banned, or a lot of mid solos banned? It's sort of a lot of mind games with that Lone Druid pickup.
10 seconds remaining.
And I imagine our Bulldog will take this Lone Druid to the off lane, like we saw in the last game up against Turtle. No, not Turtle. Who did No Tidehunter to play against 3D Max in that game? That was actually pretty fun. So if you haven't seen that game, check it out. Oh, so Mag is still left in the pool. Can't believe I forgot about Mag. So there's actually 3 heroes, so no matter what, No Tidehunter are going to get, quote-unquote, one of those imbalance heroes who's still left in the pool. So again, that's another reason why you pick up Lone Druid. Because, hey, we're going to get one of those, quote-unquote, broken heroes that are still left in the pool no matter what. Just because EG, they only have 2 picks. And actually, EG are just going to say, screw it, we'll just let it go out to second ban phase where it can ban out. So that was pick up the Leshrac and pick up the Leicester that Fear knows and loves so dearly. Fear, the hipster of the Leicester, saying I was playing strength carries before it was even popular. But Leicester, very, very powerful. Pretty solid against Lone Druid, even though Lone Druid does have a lot of armor, and he does have a bear to help entangle the lifesteal, but he does do a decent job in terms of just isolating down the true form and just exploiting that Leshrac. Of course, a very strong pusher, but probably going to be handled by Beediz, because Beediz Leshrac pretty strong, and a little bit odd to see Leshrac in such a high pick capacity this game. But still, I guess it's more of a choice by EG to say, alright, we'll just leave all the Imba heroes left in the pool, and Darkseer is going to be picked up by No Tidehunter. So I imagine it's going to be Loda playing the Darkseer once again, and maybe the mid lane capacity, not too sure. But really clever drafting going on so far, a lot of mind games. And No Tidehunter, so far they have overall the better heroes on paper, but still, EG definitely not a lineup to be trifled with whatsoever. And we'll see if No Tidehunter are going to pick up the Undying, or they're going to pick up the TA for S4. TA pretty solid up against Lifesteal just because he doesn't have a damage over time that can eat through the refractions, and, you know, just doesn't like that refraction in general. And of course the slow traps do give heroes like Leshrac a lot of trouble. TA has faded out very hard recently because of that mana cost, meaning that she doesn't really go phase boots anymore. She goes for treads to get that mana cost back online. So we'll see if she goes treads in this game or phase boots for a bit more damage. But usually phase boots a better chasing build, but treads for the mana cost probably a bit better for TA these days. Even though a lot of TAs probably prefer having the phase boots, but just because of that restricted mana cost being so high. Only 25 mana increase, but you can see how much that changes TA to be coming from a top tier to sort of a middle of the pack hero in this very sort of varied metagame. Very varied. And EG gonna pick the Magnetar, saying, alright, you have Darkseer, we're not gonna have Darkseer and Magnus. That would just mean the team fight is completely shut down altogether. And I expect No Tidehunter to ban out something like the Undying here. And we'll see what lane Magnus goes in towards, whether it be the mid lane or the off lane. EG are on the range side, so Magnus can screw over the cliff and have a little bit easier time surviving. So it might be better to put him in the off lane in this situation. And No Tidehunter gonna bat the Chen. Melk's Chen still very feared, very respected. And Melk's signature hero has not yet been picked up. I imagine it's going to be Beediz, Leshrac, Fear, Lifestealer, and Demon. Magnus if it is offlane. Beyond No Tidehunter, S4 going to be playing the Templar Assassin. I imagine Loda going to be playing the Darkseer, and Admiral Bulldog playing the Lone Druid. So no surprises so far as both teams trying to maneuver around. This is pretty high level Western Dota. And hopefully, if we want to see high-level Western Dota, this is the good time to check it out. And hopefully this will be a very competitive game, as it does determine whether EG can make it to the winner's bracket, or whether they'll get sent into the giant mess that awaits them in the tiebreakers. EG again about the Shadow Demon, saying, alright, No Tidehunter, you don't have any supports, but I don't know if Envy actually cares. We'll see if EG bans out the Gyro again for Aki, or maybe they just don't really respect Gyro as a support, or maybe they just haven't been following No Tidehunter, as Aki's Gyro is still in the picture. But yeah, I don't know if Gyro is necessarily the best choice. Lifestealer does have that rage to go through the rockets. Leshrac has that innate high base movement speed, and Magnus does have the skewer to get away from the Gyrocopter. And really, Gyrocopter does want to have the Shadow Demon on the support to get that disruption, or the Soul Catcher to set him up. But Gyrocopter is what Aki is very comfortable with these days, and hey, you saw last game, he can even carry with them if his heart truly desires. You know, Aki, he just wants to give the other team a chance. That's why he's playing support. He's just like, if I play carry, you know, the game's just too easy. I just get rapiers and own everybody, and then I just felt bad for the other team, so I decided to give up that rapier out of the generosity of my heart. So we should all be thanking Aki that he decided to relegate his duty to the support capacity. Otherwise, we'd be seeing very one-sided matchups, always in the favor of Aki's side. So, No Tidehunter gonna ban out the Brewmaster. It is one of JO's favorite heroes. It does give them some solid team fight. And of course, cycling the Bear or the Darkseer or the TA in the air for 6 seconds. Pretty annoying, so pretty smart ban by No Tidehunter, considering that EG has yet to pick up a mid-cell, and there goes the Undying ban. As EG continue to ban out supports, we'll see if they ban out the Gyro here, or they're gonna ban out another support that synergizes well with the Gyro. Not too sure who else would synergize well with the Gyro. We'll see if they decide to ban out like a Naga or Sven here. That Eternal Envy does like to play as a support capacity. But yeah, EG, maybe they're a bit confused at the moment because they're like, man, Envy will just pick up some other crazy hero that he can roam as support with. But if I were EG, I'd just make life a little bit more difficult for NTH and just say, alright, screw Gyro, we'll just get him out of the picture altogether.
10 seconds remaining.
So, again, EG needs their mid-soul, needs their secondary support, but other than that, they're pretty much set. We all know Tidehunter needs their, both of their supports they're a little bit more limited, and there's the Enigma band. Darkseer Enigma is still very, very capable, and it does give No Tidehunter a little bit more of a jungling presence and a bit more pushing power. But there's Aki's famed Gyrocopter, as he loves that hero these days, and he immediately snatched it up for him. Actually, I don't know if Aki actually loves the Gyrocopter, but Aki has been playing it a lot, and he's been playing it to pretty solid effect. So let's see what EG responds to. Will they pick up their secondary support? Keep in mind they do have the last pick, so they could throw out some crazy mid-solo or some crazy secondary support that we don't often see, but so far everything looks pretty standard, as there's the Queen of Pain for Jo, so pretty standard mid-solo pick. Does quite well against TA, and actually usually Queen of Pain, one of the first phase, or at least first phase of picks or second round of bans. Usually she doesn't get left this far behind, but I think teams are starting to find out that Queen of Pain, if she does get kept down a bit, does have really, really difficult time in terms of staying relevant in the later stages of the game. But still, Magnus into Sonic Wave, into Leshrac, everything, into Infest. It's gonna be scary. And NTH gonna pick up that support Sven once again for Envy. So we'll see if they do dual roam again, and maybe put Darkseer safe lane, Lone Druid off lane. I think in this situation I'd put Darkseer off lane. Just because there's something like a Shadow Demon that can really set it up. Of course, Lifesteal Open Wounds is very annoying to deal with, but really, Lifesteal doesn't have a stun. And Leshrac, once that Split Earth has been timed out, then Darkseer can just speed away. So I'd rather in this game see Armo Bulldog put in the safe lane, even though he is the famed off-lane player for No Tidehunter, and just get him a lot of free farm early on, because really in the late game, they're not looking too sharp. They have very strong mid-game carries, but against Lifesteal and Magnus, I mean the team with the Magnus in the late game, at least to me, always seems like they have the advantage. So we're still waiting on Melk's pick. We'll see if he gets a jungler, whether it be Enchantress or that secondary support, whether it be a feeding Venomancer or some other choice. Not too sure. As EG taking quite a while to think over these picks. And there is an axe. Dang. Well, there's Melk's pick. As, yeah, it's an axe. So, yeah, it's an axe. But anyway, just to give you a little bit of background information, Melk was actually the first one who pioneered competitive viable axe back in like 6.55, 6.56, and he was really just only as an anti-BKB hero because Berserker's Call does go through BKB, and he was picked a reasonable amount against the BKB-centric lineup that was European Dota at that stage. Keep in mind, in those days, BKB had 9-second concentration with a pretty solid cooldown. It didn't go down in terms of duration, so BKB was very, very powerful. But Axe helped mitigate some of that with that Berserker's Call, forcing heroes to attack him. And Melk was the first one who sort of pioneered that as an anti-BKB role. These days, Axe, not really seen these days. We'll see if he actually goes mid lane, because he fights TA very well in the mid lane, as I still expect to see Jo in the mid lane and Axe in the jungle, but still, it's really, really awesome seeing Axe, as I know Melk loves Axe and Bloodseeker, and Bloodseeker will never really be viable at this rate, but Axe, I think he's viable in certain situations, and who will he counter? I think it's mostly just to lock down the bear from focusing somebody like the Lifesteal for a bit, or even Templar Assassin going to town. Or if they can catch off somebody with like the Darkseer and the Berserker's Call and just insta-give him, that will really take away all of No Tidehunter's teamfight advantage. But No Tidehunter don't really have any prototypical BKB carriers, so that's why the Axe pick is a little bit weird. But still, I mean, it's an AoE sort of pseudo-disable, and it does help set up Magnus and Leshrac for all their AoE burst damage. And keep in mind, once Axe picks up that blink, if he does go for the fast blink, or whether he lets for Magnus to get the blink, Lifesteal can infest either Magnus or Axe, and just pop out and do an immense amount of damage, effectively insta-killing somebody if Axe does have the Killing Blade mana. So that's something that they do have to watch out for if you are a No Tidehunter fan. So into some players in the team, so Fear is going to be playing the Queen of Pain, and Jo is going to be playing Lifestealer. What is this? Fear always plays Lifestealer. I've never seen a Lifestealer on EG Lab not being played by Fear. Okay. So Fear is going to be playing the mid solo Queen of Pain, maybe a bit of role reversal. Maybe they're experimenting with some things, maybe they just feel like, alright, Fear's Queen of Pain is really good. And Jo can farm a bit better than Fear. I'm not too sure why they've switched up the roles. But Demon is going to be playing the offlane Magnetar. He doesn't have his signature Quelling Blade, but he already did cut down the trees with the Skewer. Beat is going to be playing that support Leshrac, and Melk is going to be playing the jungling Axe. And Envy is going to be playing his signature support Sven. Aki is going to be playing the Gyrocopter. S4 is playing the Templar Assassin. Loda is playing the Darkseer, and Bulldog is playing the Lone Druid. And it looks like Bulldog is going to be farming in the safe lane. I like this move by No Tidehunter quite a bit, as Skype has crashed apparently. But honestly, I don't care, because that's a spectator. So guess what, Spectre? B-Ball doesn't care. I'm sure your heart has been completely shattered into a million little pieces. As look at what Loda's doing. Picked up Invisor and just going to try to harass Melk once he does come out. Melk and Loda bitter rivals for the end of time, apparently, as the Iron Shell is going to be popped. I think he's trying to mess up some of the creep pulls, but that's actually just going to help Melk stack. But Darkseer, with another Iron Shell, should be able to kill this creep camp before Melk can make his way towards that. And actually, Melk did take a lot of damage from that other creep camp, so I imagine he didn't get too many spins, and that's why he took so much damage. And Loda's going to get a nice level 2 off of that stack, but here comes Beata's rotation. Melk pops a Battle Hunger, waiting till all the creeps die before he used it to ensure the maximum DPS of Beata's. Unfortunately, could not get the block. Swearth is going to cool down very rapidly. He might get it off Loda, trying to juke it as best he can. Gonna get it, and there's going to be the first blood. Loda is going to die to Beata's. One last right click, and Beata's does pick up the first blood. Nicely done by EG. A little bit of greedy play by Loda. I mean, I think he can probably stay in the lane against Jo and Beata's, but still. Saw Invisible Rune, tried to jack some Melk's farm, really shut him down. Unfortunately, ended up paying the price. So we'll see what Loda decides to do, whether he goes back to his own jungle, which it looks like he is doing right now, and trying to get some safe farm. Because now that Lifesteal is level 3, Beata's did get the first blood, so can pick up boost speed to keep up with the Darkseer, even though Beata's did get the Flying Courier. As look at that Grievo, he is so determined. What a Gordy go hard. Shoutouts to Stossel. Meanwhile, Queen of Pain should have decent time against TA. TA probably won't die, but TA really can't beat the Queen of Pain mid-solo. Shadow Strike makes it a bit annoying, range makes it a bit annoying, and the attack animation in the blink makes it very annoying for TA to deal with, as Demon needs 3 minutes, so we're gonna use this time to fast forward, because 3 minutes is quite a bit. That's my 5 giant Dota points, says the team that was late. Dang. I think it's a bit of friendly banter, but honestly I'm not too sure. Envy, oh, it is friendly banter. -6 for having Loda. Envy usually takes Dota very seriously, and if you've read his backstory you can understand why. But, you know, just having a bit of fun. Both North American teams for the most part. And by North American teams, I mean No Tidehunter, all European except for Envy. But just looking at overall the creep situation, Bulldog, free farming it up. Fear, free farming it up. Probably Fear, or no, not Fear, god, it's Jo on that lifesteal. It's just so weird to see Jo not playing mid-solo, and see Fear, more importantly, Fear not playing the lifesteal, because I think that probably must be one of his favorite heroes. Because he literally always plays it, even before Lifesteal was a top-tier pick. Meanwhile, Aki gonna roam around just looking at the wards. Here are the wards. Man, we're looking at them. We're looking at them now. As the Demon does finally reconnect. Demon, unfortunately for him, is still level 1. Really not having too much of a good time in terms of pulling. I think the supports, whether it be Aki or Eternal Envy, doing a nice job. Just sort of driving back Demon, preventing the pull to come through. But we'll see if Demon can get opportunity now that Envy is pulling, but although this creep will get finished relatively soon. And Bulldog, since he does have 2 heroes, I imagine it's a bit easier for him to control the creep equilibrium than if he did just have 1. So hopefully this won't make too big of a difference for Bulldog's farm in terms of pushing the creep equilibrium towards Demon. But S4 gonna have to pop his haste rune very soon. And Melk gonna roam in, cast a Battle Hunger. I think they're trying to kill off S4. S4, no more creeps near him. Melk is gonna rotate in, but S4 gonna pop the haste rune. Melk just gonna be thwarted for a little bit. But this is how I should play with Axe, getting 2 points of Battle Hunger and just doing a lot of damages. S4 is gonna come in on the offensive, and looks like Melk a bit hesitant on using Battle Hunger. Just gonna stop cancel it, as Sentry Ward is gonna be placed by Jo to try to reveal the melded S4, and also to see if there is an Observer Ward. perhaps nearby. But Milk, unable to find too many opportunities, just going to go back to jungling it up, because people with the axes should always be in the trees, whether it be cutting down creeps or getting kills that way, as Demon found a nice spot into the trees. Envy, I think he knows what Demon likes to do, he's just checking, but Demon found himself a really nice spot. I wonder if he skewered there. I don't think he did, so Envy going to be juked a little bit, but Demon's using this time. He might even get level 3 just from the back of these creeps dying. 1200 experience range is the range. He does hit level 3. I don't think they saw the level up icon, as Aki is going to last hit some creeps pretty ably. And Bulldog and the No Tidehunter guys will take down tower relatively easy. Demon going to rotate through, going to cast a shockwave, but he does reveal himself. Unfortunately, I don't think that will be enough for Demon to save his tower, but he did manage to hit level 3, so all is not lost for Demon, as Bulldog easily able to pick up the last hit with the bear, and already has a hand of -4.5 minute minus, actually a little bit earlier, as he is just going to be farming up on a tear. We'll see what he goes for, whether it be Relic or Maelstrom, which we see so often on lone druids. I think this game, Radiance could fare decently against Demon's Blink Dagger and Axe's Blink Dagger if they decide to go for Blink Dagger. So I think Radiance might be the best choice in this game, but still Maelstrom, really, really strong item, especially when you can upgrade to a Mjolnir. Meanwhile, Jail just continued to farm away, has been able to out-CS Bulldog, but Bulldog does have a tower to his name, so he's saying, Jail, get on my level, you ain't got no towers. And Jail doesn't care, because he is an undead thing, and he's not actually a lone druid, so all he wants to do is eat. But still, game going on pretty slowly. Don't expect too many maneuvers to be made until Demon can hit level 6, or Milk hit level 6. Milk gonna finish those Tranquil Boots. I imagine Milk not getting too many spins because he's actually taking a lot of damage from these creep camps. We'll see if he has those Tranquil Boots. He does have it, so it'll make his jungling life a lot easier. Oh, there goes a spin. Yep. Indication of how exciting the early game's going. We can watch Axe spin.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, Jail gonna rotate in. Loda has been able to hit 06 from the jungle and from pressuring Jail a bit, so he has really no fear of dying to a Leshrac gank. But Jail continued to farm up, finish the phase boots. Pretty standard for life stars these days, it just allows him to chase a lot better. And against Surge, against the traps, you're going to need all the move speed you can get. But you can see Ion Shell just going to work, especially level 3 Ion Shell. Really does hurt. Probably the most damaging spell for at least until the 10-minute mark. In most Dota games, Ion Shell is just brutal to deal with in the early stages of the game, and even the late stages of the game, Ion Shell does hurt quite a bit. But the 6-minute mark has passed, and you can see Envy and Aki dutifully placing those wards. Ichi, Sentry Ward, I don't think spies out Envy, because Sentry Wards do have very low vision. And Envy is up the hill. Milk can rotate in. I don't think Milk can get too much to happen. It's level 5, so Battle Hunger will do a lot of damage. But still, with Aki waiting in the woodwork, with the Rocket Barrage, and Fear, only level 1 of Blink, but still, I don't think either of these teams will die unless they get really solid initiation. Unfortunate thing for No Tidehunter, they can't initiate until Envy reveals himself, sort of. And unfortunate thing for Ichi is that they can't really initiate at all, because there are 2 people there, and Axe really not the best initiator until he gets a dagger, or at least a point to take a call. So the farm wars are going to continue. Very slow paced game thus far. And Bulldog finished the Midas. Already has 1,600 gold in the bank. Ridiculous he farmed on Bulldog already. As Aki going to place a Radiant Ward. Knows that Bulldog is pretty much their hope for the late game. So just going to, or Die Ward, trying to scout out if the Radiant going to come in. And if they're going to try to make an attempt on Bulldog's life. They're going to find him. And they're going to shut him down. And that ward still gives Bulldog enough time to survive, especially in the true form, for his teammates to teleport in and hopefully get a counter gank going. But of course, EG can nullify that completely by just using a Smoke of Deceit. And Fear using that haste rune, but the rune, unfortunately for Envy, does spawn in the bottom lane. And you can see EG actually not placing too many wards. They only have 1 ward, and Envy did not bother to scout up here to check that out. But in terms of map control, that tower definitely helping out the No Tidehunter supports. But the No Tidehunter supports really just roaming around. You can see Envy level 4, but Aki really really struggling in terms of levels. Only level 3, 8 minutes in the game. Not going to hit level 6 for quite a bit. And they do love that Darkseer Vacuum into cooldown combination. That works very, very effectively. Because cooldown does significant damage on a short cooldown. And the only problem is that it just takes forever to actually hit. But Bulldog, what did he go for? He went for a second Midas. Dang. So he's going to hit like level 11 very soon. He should just transfer the Midases, which I'm sure he's been doing. Bulldog has been playing this here for a long time. But his gold growth going to just go through the roof. And you can actually do this. You can actually just put a Midas on your bear and on a hero. I don't know if they share the cooldowns. I don't know if you can transfer it on the bear and the hero. And actually... Huh. You put it on the bear and then used it. But you didn't get the experience. I wonder why. That's interesting. Maybe the experience cooldown is shared. Not too sure. But Envy gonna D-ward, but might cost him his life. Beat is gonna rotate around, does get the Split Earth off. Envy gonna pay for D-warding with his life. Gives him a party shot with that Stormbolt. But now EG, they know. They know, and we'll see if Beat is with that ward can attempt to get that D-ward going. Unfortunately, Beat is not enough money for both observers and sentries. So that D-ward gonna be useful for a little bit for No Tidehunter. But yeah, I'm actually really curious why Bulldog didn't transfer the Midas over. As maybe they share cooldowns if they're on the same hero, you can only put one and one. I'm not too sure. Maybe he just forgot. Maybe it was just a momentary lapse in judgment. As S4 gonna get initiated on, S4 just gonna take a lot of damage. Here comes the Battle Hunger, and you can see how fast TA's HP starts to drop. And Melk is level 4, or does have that level 4 Battle Hunger, so S4 gonna take significant amounts of damage. And we'll just have to retreat very, very soon. It's gonna drain him to half HP. As you can see, Battle Hunger lasts for so long. In fact, the total damage of Battle Hunger is something like 625 if all of the battle damage or Battle Hunger damage does proc in. Of course, not accounting for magic resistance, but still, that is a pretty frightening number. As Bulldog did use a Midas on his hero. Let's see if he can use the Midas again on the bear. I'm just really curious. Because Bulldog plays his hero all the time. No, he's just going to use it on his bear. That's interesting. That is interesting. I imagine he'd get a lot of experience, but maybe he just feels like maybe he'll be more economically efficient. And because this game's going to drag on for a little bit anyway, for the most part. Meanwhile, Jo has his own Midas, but he's just going to have to look on Bulldog with envy, saying... Bulldog just says, I have 2 hands of Midases, you only have 1. Your big meaty claw is gold. But meanwhile, both of my 4 paws, they got that gold. As Fear attempted a life onto S4, but he's going to get run right into a Stormbolt, as a Fear Haste Rune might be enough to help him escape. Going to pop the Magic Wand as well, and we'll have the Blink to get us out of there. As Aki going to take most of his HP for Battle Hunger damage. Just shows you how ridiculous. And actually, Battle Hunger still at almost below half duration, so Aki will have to get a kill, as he does miss the last hit. He said, alright creeps, I feel bad for you. But finally does get the last hit, but this is Demon Charge again, going to cast a Shockwave. Unfortunately does whiff, as Demon has somehow managed to get that level 6, and has access to the reverse. Demon really unable to farm there against Bulldog, so I think he just rotated to jungle, and helped jungle with Melk. As Melk, I imagine saving up for the very fast Blink Dagger. Usually the build on axes, I think, is Tranquil Daggers into something else, whether it be Force Staff or Yols. Yols is actually really good on axe, gives him mana regen, gives him a nice cycle to help set it up, and of course just gives him everything an axe wants, gives him move speed as well to help chase. An axe, really, really strong chaser. But No Tidehunter, what are they going to do about jail? I guess they really don't care, because they're like, alright, Bulldog has 2 Midases. He has 2 freaking Midases. We're going to be okay. But still, the question is, are they going to be okay? As very, very passive early game. S4 going to take a bit of damage for Demon, just going to throw down Harassment. As Fear's just going to blink out, and Demon's just going to skewer out. Aki going to cast a missile, but no, nothing is going to come out of this, so the dance continues. Fear does take an astounding 75 damage right to his face. He's just be like, dang, that tickled. Just looking at the overall farm, Jo has a bit more farm on Bulldog, but Bulldog has 2 freaking Midases, so I think Bulldog comfortably ahead of Jo in terms of overall gold. If you just look at the net worth of gold, 400 gold lead for Bulldog, but those 2 Midases will just help fuel that a bit more. And we'll see what Bulldog, if he goes for the Radiance, which I think he should, because there are going to be multiple Blink Daggers on the side of the Radiant. or if he'll go for the Mjolnir build. As Envy gonna duck into the trees, did end up finding a wild beat is in the forest. He's gonna take a bunch of Edict damage, and Edict might be enough just to get the kill by itself, but no, Beatus end up gonna take the fall, and Splurth actually does whiff, but Fear picks up a nice double kill. So nice rotation by Fear and EG, as No Tidehunter do get on the board for the kill count, but unfortunately do pay for it with their lives, and look at where No Tidehunter warded, trying to prevent stacks from going on. But still, I don't know if stacks are really the most important thing to be worrying about at this point. What they have to worry about is S4 dying, and keep in mind Scream of Pain does hit invisible units. And S4, not too sure what he was doing there, trying to hunt down Melk, I must imagine. But Melk very, very tanky with those Tranquil Boots, and actually Melk went for straight up Mecha, so he's gonna have to get some item before he can get that blink, otherwise he literally will have no mana. As Arcane Boots up on Demon, Beat is, I imagine, trying to go for Arcane Boots as well, but still, need a lot of mana to fuel that Axe. Axe, very, very mana hungry, as well as hero killing hungry. But Bulldog just going to take this time, farm up, and the tower count is 1-1, as there have been astounding 6 kills in this game thus far. Holy crap, literally on the edge of my seat. As both teams know what each other are capable of, they're just going to play it safe. They know, I mean, EG took on No Tidehunter in the Dreamhack finals. They know No Tidehunter, definitely a very fearful team. And No Tidehunter, gotta admit, probably a bit better than EG at this point, just because EG not really practicing as much, but EG in the Killing Spree tournament, and might qualify for the playoffs of the defense. So we'll see if EG can turn their games around, as Magnus is invisible with a lifesteal in his belly, and they're just going to melt down Aki with the Infest, not even bothering to use reverse. Bulldog is just going to get the heck out of there, and just going to farm bottom. And we'll see, No Tidehunter going to use this time to smoke up and go for the Roshan. They do have Meld, as Bulldog will here reveal himself to go for the Roshan pit. No, Envy does have God Strength, and with the Meld damage, and with Loda tanking it up, I think No Tidehunter should be okay. Loda does have a Mechanism up. And Bulldog just gonna happily farm away. Unfortunately for the Dire, they're gonna give up their tier 1 tower in exchange for an Aegis. We'll see what they do with this Aegis, because early game Aegises usually don't really mean much. They just sort of farm more until the late game, but considering No Tidehunter are in a bit of a tower deficit, they might not have good enough Roshan control to really control that, unless they take this tower or the tier 1 mid for EG. As EG gonna claim the tier 2 tower on the Radiant top side, Aki gonna use a call down, as S4 gonna get battle hungered. Will that be enough? Beat is doing a bunch of damage with that Diabolic Edict, and actually, unfortunately for S4, could not time that last hit, as they're gonna go on to S4, but here comes the vacuum by Loda, and the wall of replica has been casted. Aki has already used his call down, as Reverse Player is holding Envy in place. Axe does manage to pick up a kill. That means everybody gonna run around like they're on crack, as Axe with that Moral Barrage. Envy gonna die as well, as EG pulling ahead in terms of the kill count. And honestly, I think No Tidehunter just said, alright, we can't let them have 2 towers for free. We'll have to try to fight this. But really, I don't know if they really tried to devote all of their forces there, as Bulldog just still farming away with that Aegis. Or not with the Aegis, just still farming on the bottom lane. Does finally have the Relic, gonna have the Radiance up very soon. And considering he had double minuses, this is a very fast Radiance, but still, game not looking too good for No Tidehunter, but still, they haven't really taken a fight with Bulldog, who is just getting all of their gold at this point. And this ward continued to block off Ancients, saying, Melk or Fear or Jo or whoever wants to go there, you will not be able to pick that up, as Melk gonna go for the drums. Maelstrom has been fished on the Lifestealer. I love Maelstrom on Lifestealer, just because it gives him some AoE, and if Barra does go for the reins, which it has been, does give Lifestealer a bit of a mechanism to sort of split push on his own to counter some of the split push by the bear. Taking a look at the gold graph, right? 5k gold lead, and 4k experience advantage. Bulldog not using minus to really boost experience, just used to farm more economically, because even though you get more experience, keep in mind you do get overall less gold, because minus is a constant 190 gold. But yeah, I don't imagine No Tidehunter are looking for fights, even though they still have the Aegis, and that did give them some nice gold to work with. Gave S4 a lot of levels as well, but I really don't think No Tidehunter are going to try to do anything with this Aegis, As you can see, Dire's still warding it up. EG, not nearly as many wards, but overall they have a bit more map control just because they have the towers. And EG aren't really looking for ganks, I imagine, until Axe or Magnus pick up the dagger. And Demon did manage to pick up a dagger, but Fear or Jail just gonna get ganked. I always call him that, as will there be a lucky entangle? Jail is gonna escape very, very easily. And it's just so weird. I'm gonna say it over and over again. Fear should be playing the Lifestealer because, you know, that's his hero. Not because, you know, Jail probably like a freaking amazing Lifestealer, but I always just see Fear playing the Lifestealer as Bulldog might very well get initiated on. They're gonna use the blink and skewer wisp by Demon, but there comes an Orchid by the Queen of Pain. Envy gonna take a bunch there. Socklave catching 2 heroes as here comes the barrage by the Bear with a finish. Reigns doing a lot of damage as Darkseer gonna cast the wall, doing a lot of damage as well. S4 finally loses the Aegis Beatus, and the EG squad gonna have to retreat as they manage to kill one hero and get the Aegis, but we'll see if No Tidehunter can be on the pursuit. Loda completely out of mana for the most part, and you can see the Rain's Bear doing so much work with the Ion Shell, gonna stun the Bear, but the Rain's damage a bit too much, and now Loda in a little bit of trouble. Already uses the Bear Surge, and now Jail gonna have to turn back around, gonna try a lifesteal onto Admiral Bulldog, but you can see the Ion Shell! This is what I'm talking about. Ion Shell just does way too much damage, and as we're gonna dive in for Fear, not gonna pick up the kill, gonna get Orchided for a bit, as he is gonna dodge the Shockwave. And overall, that engagement, it was 2-2. Bulldog did end up dying. That's a pretty big blow for No Tidehunter. But they did at least manage to kill off Jail. And what was really the determining factor was Fear picking up the Orchid. I don't think No Tidehunter saw the Orchid. I didn't even see the Orchid, as I thought Fear would probably go for his standard Aghanims or BKB or whatever the heck he wants. But Orchid, very, very cheap item these days, and does do quite a bit of work against the likes of Envy, who can get his stun off, or Aki, or Darkseer, or even S4. Because S4 without Refraction, only 1k HP, really, really just melts in the blink of an eye. And speaking of blinks, does have that dagger. But still, EG overall fought that fight pretty well. But Bulldog's reigns really just helped No Tidehunter. If Bulldog didn't have the reigns, I think the fight would be very, very lopsided towards EG. But that reigns did just so much work, and especially with the Iron Shell on the Bear and the Surges, man, has there ever been a more terrifying creature than that Lone Druid Spirit Bear 20 minutes into the game? And you can just see Iron Shell. Pretty ridiculous. As we'll just do some quick calculations. 90 over 20 seconds, that's only 1,800 damage. That's it. Of course, that's assuming all the things hit, as that was weird. The drums are popped onto by Jail, trying to siege on this tower. They really want to take this tower, but unfortunately they don't have the reverse, so they're gonna have to be a bit careful. Wall is still up for No Tidehunter. Demon, how many seconds are on cooldown for the reverse? It is gonna be up very, very soon, and I imagine Envy did write down the reverse timer, so I think No Tidehunter gonna spread out. You can see only S4 is baiting it out, and actually No Tidehunter gonna smoke in. Can they catch off Demon? Demon always planning his staying as far back as possible, but I think since the smoke was dispelled, Envy knows something is up. And yeah, the smoke has been dispelled, and Demon's just gonna get the heck out of there knowing that, alright, I think the game's up. Can't really cast reverse from that location. Trap is gonna be sprung, but Demon did already blink out. Blink is gonna be on cooldown relatively soon, but the Reigns is gonna disable that blink dagger for a bit. Very tense moment, dancing back and forth. And EG are gonna be the first ones to blink. They're just gonna... No, looks like they're not going to back off. They do have the mechanism on Axe. Does he have a dagger? Not yet. Has a second set of drums since Lifestealer drums have, for the most part, been used, and Demon just going to back off. So No Tidehunter going to defend their tier 2 at the cost of a glyph, but overall still very much worth it. And another smoke is going to be used. And keep in mind, that was a No Tidehunter ward, but they're going to run right by an EG sentry ward. And we'll see if EG did notice the map movement. Jail, I don't know, because keep in mind that the smoke does not reveal the map positioning, but no, here comes the assault, and looks like EG fully aware. Can they escape? And no, they are unable to catch up to Melk. Melk juking the right way, and meanwhile, look at what Fear is doing, pushing mid lane, forcing a TP, and if the team fight has been taken, Envy going to take a bunch of damage. Will he end up getting a stun off? No, not even able to get a stun off, as he's gonna die. And this is key for No Tidehunter to back up, because the top lane is pushing their mid lane, gonna fall very, very shortly. And Bulldog, all the while Bulldog is now farming. His Midas is on cooldown, and it has never been a more terrifying dream. It's pretty much a nightmare for a carry player, as if your Midas is on cooldown. when you're unable to use it, or off cooldown. S4 gonna take an Orchid, a Sonic Wave, right in the kisser. TA did not enjoy that whatsoever, as Fear doing a very, very nice job. Killed the tier 2, killed off S4, and I don't know, S4 usually plays very, very well in all the games that he usually has, but just the past 2 games, not playing up to his usual high standards. Maybe I'm just getting him on a bad day, or a couple bad days. But EG, with S4 down, they do still have the reverse, and they're just going to take this tower very easily, and really not too much NTH can do. They don't really have a solid form initiation. Meanwhile, there's a Blink Magnus. There's no Blink Axe yet, just very, very weird item build by Melk. But Axe, really not a hero that we see often, if ever, in the competitive Dota 2 scene. As there was a Brazilian game where Pain, I think, picked up Axe, counteract the TA mid. But this as a sort of a utility Axe, since they don't have anything like a Windrunner, and Leshrac is the primary support, they're just giving all the utility items for him, because utility items, there's a reason why everybody gets them. They are probably the most cost-effective items in the game, and everybody needs some utility items on their team. Otherwise, they just lose so much in terms of survivability. Meanwhile, Fear, imagine he's going to go for the Hex. Level 14, banking up a lot of money, going to teleport down to the bottom lane. Looks like they're trying to get a gank off onto S4 again. S4, I imagine, going to go for that BKB. Well, there's a couple items that go through BKB on the side of the rain. It's the reverse. Again, the Berserker's Call does go through that BKB. So maybe it'll be a Deso, but I just feel like S4 is so squishy, he really needs a BKB. Even if it's not for the magical immunity, you need at least some strength that the BKB does give him. Meanwhile, No Tidehunter going to play it very, very slow, very, very steadily, hoping for EG to do their infamous EG throws. But EG so far playing super solidly thus far, taking advantage of the fact that at this point Aki and Eternal Envy really not doing too much, and Bulldog and S4 unable to really just sort of do it all for their team. But I think the game might swing around for No Tidehunter as Loda can pick up some more mana, as you saw in the last big team fight that No Tidehunter went relatively in with. Loda did have some mana problems, and really, here comes another smoke attempt. And Demon gonna get his dagger disabled. Here comes the Entangle. Demon gonna get stunned. Place Joe gonna pop out as the Stormbolt is gonna locked in by Eternal Envy. Mechanism is gonna be used as Joe is gonna rage up, trying to go on to Loda. Loda already got the surge off before he got silences as Beatus does manage to blink in as Joe is gonna go to town. S4 gonna have to retreat. Jo is in the midst. S4 does have the dagger to get out of there, so it's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange thus far, but Bulldog going to take a lot of damage. He's going to get held in place by the Lifestealer as here comes the damage. As Reverse does manage to catch off everybody. Beautiful play by Demon as they just managed to massacre No Tidehunter. What a reverse. Demon dancing back and forth. Oh my god, always having his dagger disabled by the Reigns. But finally found the right opportunity. Blinked and said, "What's up, motherfuckers? I'm Magnetar. This is why I'm top tier." Well, that means EG. Nice timing. Didn't even know Roshan timer had spawned, but timed it, so they took that team fight and gonna get a free Roshan, despite No Tidehunter having control of the Roshan after taking down this tier 1. EG's like, alright, whatever, we'll just kill you all and take the Roshan for ourselves.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The question is, what will No Tidehunter do? Will they go for Desperation Rapier? As Aki, very, very low in terms of mana, or money. Imagine Rapier very far away for Aki. And No Tidehunter do want to win this. They want to get a good seed in the bracket. Defense 3, grand prize is 10k, which is definitely a significant sum, especially in the Dota 2 scene at the moment. So No Tidehunter probably trying to get the best seeding as possible so they can get an easier bracket. So I imagine they're taking this game pretty seriously. And also, just to practice against EG, who's a very, very high quality opponent. But so far, No Tidehunter unable to find too many openings. Really just EG just forcing all these engagements, a nice smoke, just smoking past right up. And although Demon did get rooted to the ground by the Entangle and has dagger constantly disabled, really couldn't do too much. And actually, Jo did finish a basher prior to that engagement, was holding people in place with that basher, whether it be Bulldog or the bear, or whoever else he was targeting. That bash did a lot of work, and keep in mind the attack speed increase that Maelstrom gives you, rather than something like a Desolator, especially once he picks up a Mjolnir, will give you more access to just more bashes. More attacks equals more bashes. Basic logic. As rather than finishing the Mjolnir, he's just going to go straight for that Abyssal Blade. Who picked up the Aegis? Fear? Fear picked up the Aegis, finished up a Hex, and EG have all the momentum in the world at the moment. And the question is, what can No Tidehunter do? They have pretty decent turtling. I mean, Darkseer, good at turtling in any situation. His Fear is going to run by one observer of their own. But it looks like No Tidehunter suspects something's up. Maybe they saw Fear pick up the invisibility rune. As Fear gonna blink ahead, gonna go on to Eternal Envy, but really can't get too much done. Not gonna use his Hex cooldown just yet. Knowing that, alright, might take a fight within the next 35 seconds. Really want to have access to my Hex and Orchid. Much shorter cooldown than the Hex. You know, what's Demon gonna go for? Gonna go for the standard refresher for Magnus, and I think if Demon ever finishes a refresher, this game's pretty much over. And as it is, the game's looking very grim for NTH Goldgraph. Hugely in favor of the Radiant. All the towers have been taken, 14 kill lead. You know, No Tidehunter have only been able to claim 2 towers. Experience advantage hugely in favor of No Tidehunter. And Smoke Deceits that No Tidehunter have been using, unable to really accomplish too much. So it looks like they're just going to try to play 5-man Dodo. You know, Loda picks up a Blink Dagger. Actually, this decision makes a lot of sense, because if you watch Loda in that last team fight, he wasn't able to get a wall off until very, very near the end. Because all the disables, whether it be Split Earth, whether it be Orchid, whether it be Axe's Berserker's Call, Loda was really unable to place that wall very, very well. So now with the Blink Dagger, Loda can afford to stay very far back. They do have a bear on their side, so they can afford to let him take a bit of damage, but they don't really want to have him take all the damage. As EG gonna approach, again, Fear or Jail infesting Demon. Gonna use the Hex on Envy. Envy's gonna die super fast. As here comes the call on Vacuum into wall, and there it goes, as unfortunately it looks like No Tidehunter unable to make too much happen. Aegis did expire. Jail gonna take a lot of damage. Jail is gonna end up dying with a couple more attacks. They are able to kill off Jail, and you can see already the Blink Dagger by the Darkseer paying off. Only secured 1 kill, but gonna secure them another. EG gonna run into a bear in the forest. Never really want to face a bear in that situation. Fear should be okay. Does have the blink up. Meanwhile, Beat is gonna run as if his life depended on it. Because it does. But that means a tower. Nice team fight. And you saw Darkseer staying the heck back. And I think Fear was probably looking out for trying to use the Hex or the Orchid onto Loda. But Loda just said, you know, I have a Blink Dagger, I'm just going to stay as far back as possible, and then blink in, use a Vacuum Wall. And you can see the power of Wall lives on. Still a very, very powerful spell. As Bulldog going to get hexed into the ground, but here comes the bashes by the bear. Bear OP! Bulldog's bear, he's like, I'm going to make your loyalty pay off, bro, as here comes the EG throw blinking in, one after another EG. Stop throwing, bros. As I think the L was probably by EG saying, did we throw again, guys? If you haven't watched the Evil Geniuses game before, Evil Genius Dota 2 game, then you know, they always have seemingly huge leads and they always seem to sort of make it fail. And sometimes they do overcome their fails, but a lot of times they don't and end up losing the game. And I don't know if that is obviously sort of going to lead to their defeat, but it was a pretty big mistake. You never want to leave a team as good as No Tidehunter any openings, and EG's still very far ahead. I mean, Magnus almost has a freaking refresher. But still, No Tidehunter gonna take that confidence. And we'll see what they can transition it into. Loda still holding on to that Ring of Health. Probably, I guess, not gonna build it into a pipe anytime soon. Again, Jail has that Abyssal Blade. But really the problem with Magnus or the problem with Lifesteal in the late game is that he does get kited, but only Surge is active in place for the anti-counter to the Lifesteal, except for the bear with the bashes and the entangles. No Ghost Scepters, no Force Staffs either on the side of No Tidehunter. No, they do have a Ghost Scepter onto Aki. But still, it's kind of hard when a Sonic Wave's in place when Leshrac with his billions of magical damage to really pick up Ghost Scepters, but still a bit surprising that there's something like a 4-staff on the side of NTH. Maybe they have been unable to accumulate enough gold. But you see what No Tidehunter are doing. They're just going to place wards and wait for EG to make them stick again. And they're just going to continue to farm up. And I think in the ultra late game then, Bear, 12 item slots, will outcarry most of the people on the side of EG. Meanwhile, S4 still holding on to a lot of items. Smoke Deceit has been picked up. We'll check out the items really quickly in this game. Demon went for the Ghost Scepter rather than finishing up the Refresher. Really fears those entangles, as you just very annoying to deal with. As a Magnus, I must imagine, really can't get into the optimal position to use that reverse, even if he does have a dagger. And also the wall illusions do physical damage, and they hurt. They hurt very, very much. Meanwhile, Melk gonna go back into a pipe. Beatus picked up a Ghost Scepter himself. Meanwhile, No Tidehunter look like they're on food stamps for the most part. But still, Bulldog managed to find his way to pick up an AC, gonna put it on his hero rather than the bear. Because if the bear dies in a team fight, they really want to have that +5 armor and -5 armor on the opposing team. But still, these bashes and these entangles holding fear in place for a large majority of that team fight. And that's sort of the problem with EG's lineup. They really can't get a BKB because Bear just doesn't care. As I think that ward did spot the Smoke Deceit. I think it did because No Tidehunter are all grouping up. Are they going to pop their own smoke? Looks like they are. Yeah, that ward did spot the smoke. Nicely placed by ward by No Tidehunter. Again, wards do help avoid disaster. It has been said so often, wards win the game, as again, No Tidehunter, super paranoid, gonna place wards all over the map before they'd even decide to use their smoke, and they're gonna use their smoke to stay in place. New meta, guys. Use smoke to stay in one area. As Roshan's gonna be back in about 2 minutes. And that might be the decisive moment in this game. And EG unable to make too much happen. Really, the only thing left to do is for them to breach the high ground and try to go onto the base, but really, they don't. They do have Leshrac, who's really good at taking down towers, but still, taking towers against a Darkseer very, very difficult because you always have to deal with that wall. And loaded with that Blink Dagger, going to be very hard to catch up to, especially now that he's finished up a pipe. Bulldog, just holding on all the while. Imagine he's going to finish an Abyssal Blade soon. Holding that lifesteal in place. Even through the rage. And now, I don't know what EG are planning to do at the moment. I think if they can farm for the refresher on the Magnus, they could just potentially just charge in, guns blazing, and say, screw it, we're going in. But still, No Tidehunter have taken a fight. I mean, they took a fight when they were down 17-3, and now it's a 19-8. And keep in mind, later game kills mean more experience and more time where the opposing heroes are dead. They matter much more than early game kills. Meanwhile, Jail gonna finish up the Maelstrom, I imagine. No, gonna finish up the AC. Still no Mjolnir. No, he is gonna have the Hyperstone up very, very soon. I think he's gonna sell his Midas. He is gonna sell the Midas. You know what, I think just because I'm greedy, SOB, I'd just sell the drums because, Melk already has the drums. But still, that one charge does help out the team quite a bit, and the Roshan timer has been noted by both sides. Wards being placed everywhere. As this EG ward does spot out. Dire's super paranoid. This ward's going to time out relatively soon, so they replaced it with the new ward. EG going to charge in. You can see what Demon's doing. Just going to stay on the outskirts of the battle. Doesn't want to get radianced. Because Demon is pretty much the heart and soul of the EG engagements at this point. Meanwhile, on the side of No Tidehunter, it's Loda. Blink Dagger positioning. This is what matters in late game Dota. One mistake will just cost you the game. This is why we see teams like Navi, when early game pushing strategy was super popular, just say, why try to just try to end the game in 20 minutes, because one mistake in the late game will just mean the game. S4 finishes up the BKB. And EG, they're a bit spread out. Fear unable to get into position. This might mean Roshan's gonna die. It's dying super fast. As Fear unfortunately tried to split push, but that might end up costing his team a Roshan, and it's gonna be the H's and Cheese. But here comes the rotation by GEG as Jazz gonna go to town on Envy. Envy's just gonna be sacrificial lane, but NTH gonna pick up the H's and Cheese, but it looks like they really want Eternal Envy. Bulldog's gonna get stunned in place. The Bear's gonna do a bunch of damage, but it's gonna dish out a bunch of damage on its own. But still, it ends up dying. The Bear is up. You should resummon it ASAP, because if they kill the Bear, it looks like Bulldog gonna go for the Halberd to try to shut down Jo. But Envy's gonna respawn very soon. Who picked up the cheese? I guess S4? No, Bulldog picked up the cheese, and S4 picked up the Aegis. My bad. But still, if EG just focused on the Bear, there goes the Radiance, there goes the double minuses, which is plus 60 attack speed, and there goes the Basher. But NTH just going to play super carefully until that Bear is back off of cooldown. Surprised no Vlad's yet on the side of NTH. But really, their supports are struggling quite a bit. If you just look at the overall game level. Level 21 on Lifesteal, you can see experience advantage still heavily in favor of EG. And looking at the kill count, poor Envy, 1, 8, and 2, really not having a good time. As Fear just trying to find a way to split push this game up, trying to get into the proper position, but you can see in terms of overall net worth, Bulldog miles ahead of Jo because of those double minuses, and because of the split push of the Radiance. Meanwhile, Jo gonna finish up that teleport scroll, biggest item to possibly finish up in the game. But yeah, this game is going to continue onward. Very, very awkward point in the game. Because if you look at the graphs, you could say, oh, EG, they can just push it and end it. But still, NTH have an H's and Cheese. And they have a Darkseer. And I mean, one reverse means the game, but Darkseer is one of those heroes who just says, whatever, if you get reverses, I just get more illusions if all your team is clumped up, and they just sort of run rampant on each other. And those illusions do hurt. Meanwhile, Melk, not too sure what he's going to go for. Maybe it's just a VIP booster into a late game heart. Really just an awkward position. No team wants to make a mistake, and I think what EG's trying to do, they're just going to wait out the Aegis. And it is going to be up in about 3.5 minutes, or it's going to be down in about 3.5 minutes. And No Tidehunter, if they're unable to get at least one tower for this Aegis, then it will overall be a bad situation for them. But they're going to group up, trying to push out the top lane, knowing that Fear has made his home on that top lane. Fear going to go for the Aghanims. 40-second cooldown this stage of the game. Very, very important. You don't really want a cooldown of 135 seconds at this stage in the game, when you can reduce it by 95 seconds. And you can see No Tidehunter unable to really get in position. EG still has most of the map control, so you can see No Tidehunter's ward have expired for the most part. The only ward that they have up is this ward. That really doesn't speak anything important now that Roshan's dead. So they're going to try to take this tower and then try to get some wards up. I imagine what No Tidehunter trying to wait for is for the 4th Roshan before they try to end the game. Try to make the deciding push, if the game's not over by then.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
No, looks like they're going to try to push in. But Fear and the EG squad going to split push as well, but Fear by himself can't do enough damage. The glyph has been forced. The rain glyph is going to be forced as well. EG not in the appropriate position. You can see Demon staying as far back as possible. Does have Haste, so even if his Blink Dagger Sail can just run in, but the Haste going to wear out very, very soon. About 10 seconds. Here comes the Blink in. Skewer does get BKB. Nicely done. Nice reactions by S4 as the pipe has been used. Skewer does have a 30-second cooldown, but the BKB was forced onto S4. And I think that's the Q for No Time to back up, and that is the Q. Especially Pipe. Pipe has 50-second cooldown or 45-second cooldown. They don't want to take without either BKB or the Pipe, even if they do have Aegis and the Cheese. And I still think EG is ahead. There's another teleport. for JO. I'm always just looking at JO saying, alright, come on, pick up a new item. Pick up at least the Mjolnir. And actually, NTH got the tower, but were unable to place any wards, so still lacking in terms of map control. But they got an extra 2k gold, 2.5k gold in their pockets. So that's definitely something. That's one more tower than they didn't have before. And Lotus had that gem for a decent amount of time. Gonna use that to D-ward, so No Tidehunter's like, alright, if we're not gonna have map control, you're not gonna have map control either. So essentially, for the most part, both teams playing in the dark, very scary. Who turn off the lights? Are you afraid of the dark? Shout out to 90s kids, yay! Oh my god, I hated that show. I'm just gonna say, I did not like that show. I was more sophisticated. And that's why I watched SpongeBob. Because SpongeBob is for sophisticated people, and Are You Afraid of the Dark for immature people. Or actually, Rocko's Modern Life, as that is a bit more 90s. SpongeBob's more like 2Ks. Anyway, gold graph, experience graph, it still exists, it's still there, nothing's changed. Exciting game. And it is, I mean, well, these moments obviously aren't exciting, both teams just waiting around. But this is high-level Dota. Neither team wants to make a mistake. But NTH is going to try to force the issue. Oh, Aegis is already timed out. So I don't know if this is the appropriate move for NTH to do. They picked up the Crystallis onto S4. But really, they want to get as much map control as possible, so the 4th Roshan gonna be super important. And that's why they want to secure map control. That's why they're going into the woods. Not really to get kills, just to get some wards up and try to get maybe 1 or 2 pickoffs. But EG, you know, they're just going to say, alright, whatever. We're just going to stay together. Melk has a buyback, so he's not in too much risk of staying out in the open. Of course, you never want to use a buyback if you don't have to. But still. And looks like EG have just pretty much given up on placing wards. Instead, they're going for items as Beatus is going to get Radiance down slowly but surely.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
As Beatus never had a blink die, apparently. I just missaw that as there's going to initiation onto the bear. Gonna go to work on Melk. He's going to lose his bear. 100 gold, but the bear cooldown is up, and actually a screw ahead by Demon. Trying to bait something out. Demon's finished the refresher. And that might give EG the juice that they need to take a Roshan engagement. Because they can use reverse there, and then after the buybacks have been completed, they can use another reverse and then try to seal the deal. So now, game just got even more tense for No Tidehunter. But No Tidehunter, only 1 tier 2 tower remains. They've definitely been able to make up some of their lost gold. You know, Aki, disappointingly. You know, he's saying, I'll give EG a chance. I'll just go standard support items. But really, if Aki picked up a Reaper, he'd just get bursted down by Demon. Or JO, or Fear. As Fear went for straight up Scotty. DPS Quap. And he's gonna go for a lifesteal as well. Just wants to stay in the fight for as long as possible. And try to do as much damage as possible. That does mean his illusions do hurt, because they benefit from the stats. So they get the damage and the HP, and the attack speed. But still, Fear, essentially immortal, unless there's a Hex being picked up by NTH. They do have the Halberd. But Hex is a long way away, seemingly, and the problem with these sort of dual supports by No Tidehunter is that there's no real natural Hex carrier for them, aside from Loda. But still, I imagine Loda, yeah, he is going to go for that Hex next. Hex going to be super crucial. Nobody, or only S4 has a BKB. Very, very odd game where only one person in the game has a BKB at 47 minutes in the game. But that's the game that we're playing in today. Because there are Bashers, there are Abyssal Blades, there are Reverses, there are Berserker Skulls, there are Entangles. Who needs BKB when all that madness is going around? And Malik actually using all his buyback, gonna pick up that Reaver. And EG, I think they know Roshan's gonna time up very soon. They're trying to get some map control back on their side. And S4's put himself in a bit of an awkward position, but he does have BKB. And he's gonna teleport out with that invisibility rune. Should be okay. Does... So Fear actually just sold that point booster. And just went for the Scotty. Or no, he, of course, point booster goes into Scotty. Derpity der. And now the Roshan timer is back, and both teams immediately migrate to there. And Magnus and Darkseer are the kings of the Roshan engagement. They're both on the opposite sides of the spectrum. Look at where Lotus positioning himself very far back. TA already picks up the Aegis. JO gonna siege on Aki. Aki pops the Ghost Scepter. S4 is gonna come back in, but BKB already used a lot of the duration. Reverse is only gonna catch off Aki, but he's gonna refresh. Can he get another reverse vacuum as the wall does go up, but a reverse catches 4 people for EG, and there goes the Calamity on the side of EG. They're gonna kill everybody. S4 is gonna blink out of there, but still the blink is on cooldown, and he's gonna lose his Aegis. Oh no! That refresher. That refresher. And I don't know if NTH saw the refresher. I imagine they did, but still, the heat of the battle, especially when fighting up in a location like this, you can't help but to get clumped up in Magnus reverse. Pretty long range around this duration, or this... like that radius. It's pretty significant. And that's going to mean a Rax for EG. I don't know if it's GG just yet. Glyph is up. But still, it's very... Finally, the stalemate has been broken. And it has been the Magnus rather than the Darkseer. So the new king of the Roshan has been crowned. And his name is Rhino Mantar. And EG going to claim 2 barracks. Will they get greedy, go for the Mega Rex? I think they can, because they have buyback on most of their important heroes. And they are going to go for a 3rd Rex. They're going to go for straight up Mega Creeps. And I'm not too sure if NTH can actually defend this. They're just going to have to pull Aki like 80,000 items as the smoke is casted. Immediately been dispelled. S4 and the NTH squad just going to siege in. They know the creep equilibrium pretty solid in favor in this lane for the moment before the Mega Creeps do come in. And this lane, a lot is happening as Demon going to blink back. This seems to be an all-in rush by NTH. Bear is going to be on cooldown for a while. Bear does have the AC and a Basher and KB and a Radiance. He's not going to get much more farm than that. But still... Can NTH do it? Reverse is up on Demon. Doesn't have the double reverse up. Loaded does have the wall. Super tense moment. NTH just going in, guns blazing. Not really many other options, but still they don't want to clump up against the side of EGS. Lotus going to get the vacuum onto Fear. Fear is going to get sun placed. Joe's going to pop out, but Fear is going to die. Reverse is going to be casted. Another beautiful reverse by Demon, baiting out everybody on NTH, but without Fear, unable to really do the requisite damage. And EG going to lose this team fight. JO still going to work as the wall of illusion finally casted. What took you so long, Loda? As, man, just a giant works of madness all up in the air. Reverse polarity. Reverse polarity, ladies and gentlemen. Reverse polarity. Congrats to proceeding. As EG make it to the brackets. To the winner's bracket. Of the defense 3. And man, reverse. If ever there was a doubt in your mind why Magnus, top tier pick, you've seen it today. As that is going to be the end of this game. Wow. Bit surprised, No Tidehunter usually strong communication, but I guess, you know, it was just good positioning by EG, forcing No Tidehunter to take them, and fights that force them to clump up. So it's mind games on both sides, because No Tidehunter know that they shouldn't clump up. I'm sure Envy was spamming in the chat, don't clump, don't clump, don't clump. But Fear, even at the end, positioning himself into a choke point, so even if he does get initiated on, No Tidehunter will have to clump up in order to kill him. So there's only so much communication you can do. As wow, intense game 30-11, but the game a lot more closer than that. But hopefully you'll enjoy that game. And thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. The streak lives on.